alive! It's alive! It's alive!
I want to play a game.
Hello and welcome to the Sounds from the Grave podcast, a podcast that talks all about horror and horror-related things. My name is Yussef, and here are your horror news of the week, giving you all of the latest headlines and news of this past week in horror, so that way you can stay up to date. So, we have quite a bit of stuff to go through, so before I get started, as usual, I want to remind you guys that whenever I talk about new pictures or new videos that have been released, whether it's trailers or posters or images from a movie, you can always find those on our Instagram and Twitter at Sounds from the Grave, so that way you can see what I am talking about. But without further ado, let's get into these horror headlines. So first one is pretty big. We got the one of the official Scream posters that features the return of Ghostface, and it looks amazing. I love that it just puts Ghostface and the knife just front and center. Like, that is all we see, just Ghostface. So I thought that was really, really cool. Funny enough, there was also the, I think it was the UK version of the poster, which is also very cool because it does show like almost like a full-bodied picture of Ghostface with their knife, I'm sorry. And, oh man, I cannot wait for this movie. Like, for next year, this is probably one of, if not my most anticipated horror movie. So I just cannot wait for this thing to come out already. But keeping it in the Scream universe here, we also got some new images from the movie that features Sidney, Gale, Dewey, Ghostface, and a bunch more stuff. So, some of the characters that we see are, like I said, of course, Sidney, Gale, Dewey, and even Judy Hicks from Scream 4 is going to be back in this one. We also did get a look at the new characters in the film, which are Jenna Ortega's Tara, Melissa Barrera's Sam, Jack Quaid's Richie, Jasmine Savoy Brown's Mindy, and Dylan Minette's Wes. So I like that it gives you a nice look at everybody that's going to be in the film. So we can't go wrong with that. And the pictures, like I said, are very cool. So if you're going to get a little bit more background, you can definitely check those out. But moving on to some really cool news, some news that I'm very happy to report here. Candyman has officially approached $80 million worldwide in gross sales. And not only, as impressive as that is, which is incredibly impressive, I'm so glad that this movie is getting the recognition as it deserves, because it is an incredible film. It's very, very good. I definitely recommend you watch it if you haven't. But we now also have news that we are getting its physical release on the way. So it is going to be coming out to DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Ultra HD on November 16th, which by the time I'm recording this is literally less than a month. It is 30 days. Or like, it's off by a day, month-wise. I can't do math right now, and I cannot wait to get that, because this movie was amazing, and it was one of my favorite movies of this last year. So it is, wow, like I cannot wait to watch this again and again and again and again and again. But moving on now to some very cool horror-inspired wrestling news. So Roman Reigns is getting possessed with a cool new shirt from WWE that shows like a zombified or like possessed looking Roman Reigns, and this amazing catchphrase, or like writing on it, the suplexorcist. It's amazing, because it's actually something that his manager Paul Heyman coined, and I think it's amazing. So if you want to get that, it is officially on WWE's online shop as part of their Halloween collection. So it's amazing. So you can definitely grab that. It is $27.99. So if you are interested in that, if you're a fan of Roman Reigns, if you're a fan of The Exorcist, or both, go ahead and grab it. It looks really cool. But moving on now to some more physical media news. James Wan's *Malignant* is coming to digital for Halloween and in Blu-ray in November. So it's going to be coming out on digital on October 22nd, which is just in a few days. And then it's going to be coming out to DVD and Blu-ray on November 30th. I'm excited for this. This movie was pretty entertaining. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It had some weird stuff going on in it, but I definitely liked the vibe that it had going on. Like the tone of it was really cool, and I'm definitely going to be watching this again because as a James Wan fan, I do like the majority of the stuff that he's done, and yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking this out. So if you are as well, then I'm very happy for you. But our next piece of news is actually one I'm very, very excited for because it's one of my favorite TV shows. So the original Twilight Zone series is getting a brand new Blu-ray release for Halloween. So it's going to be all 156 episodes of Rod Serling's landmark TV series, and it's going to be hitting the Blu-ray from Paramount on October 26th. And it's going to be going for $72.99. Now that is pretty. Honestly, it's a pretty good price for a relatively rare series to get on the Blu-ray treatment. So, along with every single episode in high def, you are also going to get original pilot version with Rod Serling sponsor pitch, audio commentaries, interviews with the cast and crew, audio commentary by the Twilight Zone companion author, isolated music scores, radio dramas, and a bunch more. So, holy shit, I'm ready to jump back into the Twilight Zone. Like I said, it's one of my favorite TV shows. It's something that actually inspired me to get into script writing. So I'm definitely going to be trying to purchase that at some point if I have the money and if I make good financial decisions, because I am trying to save some money now. So, uh, um, but yeah, like I definitely, if you're looking to get all 156 episodes, this is the box set for you. So, moving on to our next piece of news, we also got some new images from the upcoming I'm sorry, I cannot talk. We got some new images from the upcoming Paranormal Activity Next of Kin, which looks very cool. I personally am not a huge fan of found footage movies. I just not really my thing. But when I saw the trailer for this, it looked very interesting. It looks relatively creepy, more so than the previous entries in the franchise. And the images that did come out definitely give it justice. What I was not expecting is that the screenplay is from Christopher Landon, who wrote Happy Death Day and Freaky. So I'm very excited for that. It's definitely very different. Like Paranormal Activity looks very different from what he's done before. So I'm curious to see how his writing style is going to be changed or how he's going to approach this type of horror content as opposed to the stuff that he's already done before, which is more of like a horror comedy stuff. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. You can check those images out. They're very, very cool. They definitely give you a good like idea of like the vibe of the film. But this next piece of news is very cool. If you are a Walking Dead fan, we are getting a brand new spin-off anthology series called Tales of the Walking Dead. It is going to be coming out next year in summer. Um, so AMC officially gave it the green light, and its first season is going to consist of 6 episodes and is slated to debut on AMC and AMC Plus in summer 2022. We do have a little bit of an early teaser artwork, which is very cool because it is the infamous "Don't Open Dead Inside" door from the first season, but this time it just says "Tales from the Walking Dead." I like the idea of them doing an anthology series. You know, we've already been attached to certain characters that we've been following since season 1 at this point. So it's going to be interesting to get to see other characters in the same universe as this version of The Walking Dead. Granted, I have not been watching Walking Dead since like season 8, I believe. Like the show kind of lost me at that point. Like I just lost my interest in it. The storylines just weren't that great to me. So, but this might bring me back just because I like that it's going to be completely different stories. So we'll see what that's going to be like. Um, my next piece of news here is incredible because apparently Elvira has decided to take this year and just make the most incredible stuff. So we already know that she had her 40th anniversary special on Shudder. She has her month long event on Netflix as part of their Netflix and Chills lineup, and now she's also going to appear on the ABC show The Goldbergs, in their Halloween episode called "The Hunt for the Great Albino Pumpkin." So it's going to be pretty interesting. I'm going to read you the synopsis for the episode here. Missing his pops, Adam finds himself disenchanted with his once favorite time of year, Halloween. Beverly tirelessly tries to resurrect Adam's Halloween spirit from the dead, encouraging Pop Pop to spend some quality time with his grandson. A night of mishaps and chaos turns out to be just the adventure Adam needs. Meanwhile, with the push and support from Joanne, Barry decides to bring his former alter ego, rapper Big Tasty, back to life. And a chance encounter with legendary Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, brings Barry and Joanne closer together. So, granted, I have barely seen the Goldbergs. I remember liking it when I first saw it just because of the whole, like, 80s, flashback vibe stuff. And the show was genuinely pretty funny. So, honestly, I might get back into it just for this one episode, just to see Elvira in anything, because Elvira's a queen. And anything that she touches is incredibly amazing. So, I can't wait to see that. But this one's a fun little news. So, Heinz Tomato Blood is now available in stores for Halloween. So Heinz don't worry, it's nothing crazy. So it's regular Heinz tomato ketchup, but they repackaged it for Halloween, and now it's Heinz Tomato Blood. So it's just a spooky label, which is just pretty funny. So if you do find it, in your aisles, don't be surprised. It's not blood. It's not fake blood or anything like that. It is just regular ketchup with a tomato blood label on it. So I thought that was pretty funny. That's why I'd liked to add that on there. But this next news, wow, I'm excited for this. I'm very, very excited for this. So we know Mike Flanagan, Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass. I think it was last week I told you guys that he is also going to be doing an Edgar Allan Poe series with Netflix. And really that's all we got. And but this week we got an interview with Mike Flanagan where he got to talk a little bit more about what the show is going to be like. So this was an exclusive interview with Bloody Disgusting. He said, "A lot of the stuff I do is a slow burn. The fall of the House of Usher is a brush fire. It is an explosion. It is as aggressive and rock and roll and over the top and just violent and insane and horrific as anything I have ever done. By a lot. We're going to pull all the stars from the intrepid group of actors and some great new faces, and we're just going to fucking jam." I love this so much. He continued to say, "We want just buckets of blood pouring out of the ceiling on page 2, and we're just going to go ballistic, and we're going to do it all to the music of one of the most intensely effective gothic horror writers. This is what we've been craving, a chance to just go ballistic on something. The entire catalog of Poe is wide open. It's all public domain. We can cherry pick whatever we want and put it into one giant crazy heavy metal riff that's just blood-soaked and wild. In a sense, we get to blow off steam after 5 very emotional years. And it lets me play in a corner of this genre I haven't gotten to play in a long time. It's a relief, really. It's fun to have fun. We start shooting in January. They're going to announce the cast at some point soon. The cast is absurd and ridiculously exciting." So this is cool, right? Like, Mike Flanagan is like, hell, we're going balls to the walls with this. Like, we're not doing a slow burn. This is going to be in your face, in your fucking grill. Like, we're not gonna let up. We're gonna go insane on you. And I'm like, hell yeah, give me more, say less. I'm in. I'm sold already. You don't need to say anything else. I'm excited to see what the cast is gonna be for this, and like kind of how they're gonna approach this types of storytelling with Mike Flanagan. But moving on to some David Gordon Green news. Halloween Kills has been out for a few days now, and it's making the rounds. A lot of people like it. Some people don't. It's kind of a polarizing movie a little bit. I'm in the camp of I like it. I think some things could have been better, but overall I thought it was pretty entertaining. I liked it a lot. But we do get a little bit more of info regarding Halloween Ends. So this is directly from David Gordon Green. He said, "Halloween Ends is complete, and actually I'm getting John Carpenter's notes on the new draft later. So I'm excited about that. It was resolved. Like any trilogy, you wanted to have a beginning, middle, and end. We had a concept of the ending, and 2 years ago we wrote the first draft of it. So we had it all mapped out before we went into production on Kills. We knew where it was going, and we wanted Kills to be a symphony in the middle of the book of the Strode saga." I like that they're moving along with this. I'm based on how Halloween Kills ended. It gets me very excited to see what they're going to do with Halloween Ends. Just because, it's been such an entertaining ride so far with this, new version of Halloween. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with this. But moving on to some more collectible news here. Jada Toys has their own line of Universal Monsters action figures. So, everybody's releasing Universal Monsters figures right now, and Jada Toys is one of them with 4 brand new authentically licensed figures. So they are 6-inch figures, and their packaging are actually modern takes on the posters from the 1930s to 50s. So the characters include Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the Bride of Frankenstein, and the creature from the Black Lagoon. And they each have 20 plus points of articulation, and they come with character-specific accessories. Right now they are $24.99, and they can be pre-ordered from EE and BBTS. There are also rumors that we're going to be getting the Mummy as well as the Invisible Man and possibly the Wolfman. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. But moving on to our next news, this is one I am extremely excited about. Outside of Scream, this is my other most anticipated horror film of next year, and that is The Black Phone, from the director of Sinister and Doctor Strange, and starring Ethan Hawke. We finally got a trailer for this, and I cannot wait to see this. This looks like such an incredible movie. So, it's coming to theaters on February 4th, 2022. And the trailer definitely teases that Ethan Hawke is going to be like this incredibly creepy and like sadistic person. In the movie, he's known as the Grabber because he kidnaps kids. But very cool here. He is wearing a series of creepy masks. Funny enough, they're designed by Tom Savini and escorted by black balloons. Hawke's Grabber steals children off the streets, not unlike Pennywise. His latest victim is a 13-year-old boy who finds himself locked up in the Grabber's basement lair, but a little help from the killer's past victims may allow him to survive his terrifying ordeal. I am so excited for this. This looks so good. Honestly, I cannot wait to see what they're going to do with this. So the trailer, like I said, it's like it's a pretty long trailer. It's like a 3-minute long trailer. I definitely recommend that you check it out on YouTube or on our Twitter. It's already on there as well. So yeah, definitely check that out, and hopefully you get as excited as I am for this. Moving on to the incredible, amazing, lovely Jamie Lee Curtis. This past weekend we got the premiere, like red carpet premiere of Halloween Kills, and they were like, you know what, fuck it, let's do a costume party premiere, and Jamie Lee Curtis just immediately knocked it out of the park. So she came dressed up as Marion Crane, Janet Leigh's character in Psycho, which is hilarious because Janet Leigh was Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. So she showed up as Marion Crane, and she was holding a bloody shower curtain as well, which is amazing. So she had, the outfit, the wig, like the whole thing. And then you then you have Jason Blum, who showed up as Laurie from Halloween Kills. So he went the whole 9 yards. He was wearing the whole outfit, as well as a wig and everything, and it was pretty funny. You can check that out actually on his Twitter, because it's a sight to see. You definitely need to watch what he did. But keeping it in the Jason Blum realm of things, he gave us some updates on The Wolfman starring Ryan Gosling, and actually teased some more Universal Monster movies. So this was something that was announced last year, that Universal was going to be doing a new take on The Wolfman with Ryan Gosling supposed to be starring as the title character. And last we had heard Lee Winnell, who directed The Invisible Man, was in negotiations to direct for Blumhouse, but that's really all we heard for a while. So we got a recent update from Jason Blum. He said, "We are working on the script, got to get the script right. Working on trying to get a script that Ryan feels good about and comfortable about and excited about." He also teased, "We have 2 or 3 we're developing. They're not yet announced, so I can't talk about them." But the status with Universal Monsters is no different than it's ever been. Universal is in charge of the Universal Monsters, but we've come up with a few ideas that they've liked for a few of their other ones, and hopefully we'll turn those into movies. I'm all for it. I like that we're going to be getting updated looks and updated stories from the Universal Monsters. I absolutely love the Universal Monsters. I love the recognition that they've been getting, so the fact that this is a thing that's been happening is incredible, especially with how great a film The Invisible Man was. It was such a suspenseful, intense movie, so Lee Winnell did a terrific job directing this. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do with something like The Wolfman. It's going to be a different type of beast. I see what I did there. But moving on, we have some news regarding M. Night Shyamalan's next film, which is set to come out in 2023. Um, so the next film that he's making, all we got as a title is going to be called Knock at the Cabin. And in a previous social post in the summer, he teased the project a little bit. He said the next one on third draft, super tight, under 100 pages, which is cool. I haven't seen his last movie, so, but I heard that like there are certain things that could have been trimmed off and would have made the movie a lot better. So we'll see what happens there. But moving on back down to David Gordon Green, he gave us some more updates regarding what he's going to be doing after he's done with Halloween, because he did announce that he is going to be moving on to a trilogy based on The Exorcist. And they're going to be getting the Halloween 2018 treatment, so they're going to serve as sequels to the original classic. And we also got a casting saying that Leslie Odom Jr., that we know from Hamilton, will star in the new Exorcist trilogy, the first of which is confirmed to be directed by David Gordon Green. And not only that, Ellen Burstyn is going to be back as Chris McNeil, so Regan's mom. And some of the plot details that we got as well. Odom Jr. will play the father of a possessed child. Desperate for help, he tracks down Miss Burstyn's character. Jeez, I'm sorry. It is set to be released on October 13th, 2023. And in a new chat with Collider, he actually suggested that he wants to direct all three of them. So he's co-writing the trilogy with Peter Sadler, and he told Collider, "I'm sure I'll know more a year from now when I've gotten a handle on what Exorcist is. The script's written, and it was a very entirely different writing process from the Halloween trilogy." He also went on to say, "The first one of our trilogy is written, and the second two are being outlined. So we've got a ways to go on that, but we know where we're going. It's a new journey with some familiar characters and some new ones as well." I was surprised to hear that Ellen Burstyn was going to be coming back from this for this. It's going to be very exciting. I like what David Gordon Green is doing, where he's just taking these films, that are relatively older, and he's bringing out like updated sequels to them. So far, it's been working pretty well with Halloween, and hopefully, it works just as well with The Exorcist. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. Um, but moving on back now to Jason Blum again. This man decided to just tease us all throughout this week. Um, so right now, the Happy Death Day franchise is currently on hold. We don't really know right now if that's going to be a temporary or a permanent thing. Because Christopher Landon has actually been planning a bonkers third and final installment for his franchise, tentatively titled Happy Death Day to Us. But right now, we're not sure if that's going to be happening or not. That really depends on Jason Blum. So in an interview with Collider, he did suggest that he hasn't really given up on the franchise. He said, "I have a plan. I'm not saying goodbye to Happy Death Day. I'll say it like that." So that's gonna be pretty cool. Happy Death Day is a very entertaining movie. Both of them are. I like them. They're pretty funny. They're very different because they're not your typical type of slashers or like Groundhog Day meets Halloween or something like that. They're pretty cool. So I'm glad that there's the possibility, there's hope that we might get a third film in the franchise, because I would like to see that. But moving on now to some collectible news. Halloween 3 Living Dead Dolls, I can't talk. So Halloween 3 Living Dead Dolls box set is actually now available from Mezco, so everybody knows about the Living Dead Dolls at this point. These cute little like baby dolls that are shaped and made to look like horror movie icons. So the Mezco previewed that the Silver Shamrock Kids from Halloween 3 were getting their own Living Dead dolls, and they're actually up for pre-order now. Each one stands 10 inches tall and features 5 points of articulation. They're packed together in a window box, perfect for display. They're adorable. I love the Silver Shamrock masks. They are incredible masks. I love them. And I don't actually have any Living Dead dolls. They're not something that I just find easily when it comes to my collecting. I mostly tend to stay with the Nika stuff or the Sideshow collectible stuff because I just prefer those. But you can pre-order those now if you want on Mezco's website. So if you're interested in those, definitely go ahead and do that. Moving on now to some very cool news here. Apple TV is selling the 7-movie Rob Zombie Ultimate Film Collection for $25. So they're celebrating Halloween with a special offer for Rob Zombie fans. They're offering up a 7-movie film collection. that it's just going to be $25. That it's going to be a limited time. So if you haven't gotten your chance to get those, I would definitely do that, because it includes every horror movie that he's directed. So that's House of Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, Three from Hell, Halloween and Halloween 2, The Lords of Salem, and 31. That's very cool. I like the idea of that. I like that Rob Zombie's going to get some more recognition as a horror filmmaker. So definitely get your hands on those if you haven't already, or if you want to see some for the first time. This next piece of news kind of annoyed me. I wouldn't say it pissed me off. It annoyed me. It made me a little mad. A little mad. So announced at the tail end of last year, Disney is going to be working on a first ever television series set within the Alien universe for FX. And it's going to be developed by Noah Hawley, who developed Legion and Fargo. And we also know now that Ridley Scott is expected to be on board as a producer. But what's interesting is, in a current interview, or in a recent interview with UK's Independent, Ridley Scott said, "It'll never be as good as the first one. That's what I'll say." And just reading that annoyed me, because I'm over here like, dude, Alien is almost a perfect movie. Like, nothing is ever going to be as good as the first Alien. So, like, that I understand. But what I don't understand is, how can you say something like that if you are the producer of the show? Like, you're expected to uphold the reputation of the show as the producer for it. And also, you have no right to really say anything like that, because it's because of you that we got Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant especially, because that movie just bothers me. It annoyed me to no end. Prometheus wasn't horrible. I still don't particularly like Prometheus, but I definitely like it better than Alien Covenant. So I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, stop. Stop being a grumpy old man. Like, dude, come on, seriously. Like, don't sell the thing that you're going to be helping to produce short. And especially when you don't have the best track record in the franchise either. So, like, shut up. Sorry, I went on a little rant there. Like, I'm very passionate about the Alien franchise, and Ridley Scott, it just annoyed me with that. But moving on to a little bit of a lighter news here. So Shudder's black horror anthology Horror Noir is actually going to be coming out on Thursday, on October 28th. On Shudder, it is called it is expanding upon the documentary Horror Noir: A History of Black Horror. So it's going to be an anthology movie that'll showcase showcase stories of black horror from black directors and screenwriters. We got the trailer for it, and we also learned that it's going to be coming out on Thursday, October 28th. It is going to be also airing on AMC later on. We don't know specifically when, but it is going to be coming out. So it features a hugely stacked cast, because it is going to be 6 stories, and it's kind of presented in a 2-hour film. And it's going to be starring Leslie Ann Brandt, Luke James, Erica Ash, Brandon Michael Smith, Sean Patrick Thomas, Peter Stormare, Malcolm Barrett, Tony Todd, yes, and Rachel True, among others. Like, that is, wow, what a stacked cast. Like, that makes me excited. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with that. But like I said, that comes out on October 28th on Shudder. If you don't, you can always wait for it to come out on AMC at a later date. But this is the last thing I'm going to say about David Gordon Green now in this next piece of news here. He's already talking about the Blu-ray release of Halloween Kills, and what's interesting is he's already teasing an extended version of the movie for the upcoming Blu-ray with a whole different ending. So he said, "This is the director's cut through and through, but there's an additional scene that we filmed that was scripted. And actually, I think it is a pretty brilliant scene. So we're going to do an extended version on the Blu-ray, just so people can see an extended ending that's different and cool. We ended up lifting it when I became more confident of where we're going to pick up in the next movie. It didn't feel authentic to where we're going to go, so we lifted it. So we just said, we're kind of coming up with, okay, then if we lift that, where do we end? And it was actually Cooper Samuelson at Blumhouse. He was just, let's just end it. Let's just end when it's over. Lights out. He mentioned it. He was like, remember in Rogue One when you wanted the movie to end, when it was Darth Vader going ballistic at the door? Like, that's what we were going for. Okay, I'm all for it. Dude, like, the movie just came out. Like, just stop with the announcements. Like, give us a second to breathe, man. Come on. But I like that, we're going to be getting an extended version of Halloween Kills. Like, I couldn't ask for more. So I'm very happy they're doing that. So major props to David Gordon Green for wanting to include that for us Halloween fans. But our last piece of news here, Capcom has been teasing multiple Resident Evil announcements closer to Halloween. So Capcom released a new Halloween-centric website as part of the 25th anniversary celebrations for Resident Evil. Now, of course, Capcom is a Japanese company, so the majority of the website is mostly in Japanese, but some English-speaking fans were able to navigate it, and what's interesting are the multiple surprise announcements that are coming out later this month. The first two announcements have already been made. Those are the RE-themed clothing and swag and all that kind of stuff, and also details for the upcoming Resident Evil 4 VR that's coming out on October 21st on the Oculus Quest 2. However, there are 3 more announcements scheduled for Thursday, October 21st, 2 for Friday, October 22nd, and another one on Monday, October 25th, and yet another one on Friday, October 29th. So, some of the possibilities are the in-production but not announced Resident Evil Village DLC, the remake of Resident Evil 4, and even the possibility of another trailer for Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, which is coming out in November. So, holy shit, it's a good time to be a Resident Evil fan. So, we're going to be getting a ton of new information on where the franchise is heading. I, for one, cannot wait. I absolutely love Resident Evil. I cannot get enough of it. So, yeah, I can't wait to see what they're going to be announcing. But really, guys, that's all I have. I kind of blazed through these a little bit. There wasn't a whole lot of huge information. Just a couple of big headlines, but a lot of the stuff is just more updates than anything. So that's where I'm really gonna end this episode of the horror news of the week. So before I leave, I'm gonna do some of our basic housekeeping. As you know, this is the Sounds from the Grave podcast. You can find us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Sounds from the Grave. We also have our YouTube channel, Sounds from the Grave, and our email, soundsfromthegravepodcast@gmail.com. So you can definitely check those out. Drop us a line, talk to us, tell us what you want us to talk about. As you all know, we're also in the middle of our Evil Dead month. We've already talked Evil Dead 1 and 2. Check out tomorrow if you're listening to this the day that it comes out. But we are dropping our Army of Darkness podcast episode pretty soon. And the week after that, we are also dropping our Evil Dead 2013 remake episode with a very special guest. So keep your eyes peeled for that, as well as a very special surprise bonus episode for Halloween. So, whole lot of stuff going on right now in the Sounds from the Grave podcast. But then, outside of me as your host for the Horror News of the Week, we also have our lovely co-host Vanya. You can find her on YouTube and Twitter as HHN Cultus. She posts a bunch of horror-related stuff, HHN-related stuff, goth culture, merch, that kind of cool, awesome stuff. She also has her merch store up that sells Rad Daddy Cult stickers. If you know what Rad Daddy is, you are a part of the cool kid table. Because Rad Daddy is a fun little cult to be a part of. As well as some of her HHN Cultus merch, so you can definitely check that out. And then for yours truly, you can find me on Twitter at itbeyusef and on Instagram at Yussef1220. You can always reach out to me, follow me on there, and I'll always follow you back because I'm a nice guy like that. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Horror News of the Week. You're all caught up. You're all in the know of what's going on in the horror news, horror world. And I will catch you very, very soon. So have a good night or good day from whenever you're listening to this, and stay spooky. Bye, everybody.